Welcome back, 5th and 6th graders. I hope you're ready to dissect some seeds. If you don't have your supplies out for week 3, make sure you go and grab them. You should have some seeds that you already incubated, which meant putting in water, and that was on your instructions. So if you haven't done that yet, you'll have to pause your video, get them soaked for at least overnight or 24 hours, and then you can come back when you're ready. But hopefully you've already got them soaked, and then you'll just need the couple pieces of paperwork that you had in your kit. And you can grab this one because you can take notes down here, or you can just grab an extra piece of paper, and then you'll need this to follow along with. Then you'll need a ruler, and you'll need some tweezers. So grab those supplies and come on back. I already have some seeds nicely dissected, but I will show you how to do that when we are ready to dissect the seeds. So if you are going to take some notes down here on some empty space, grab that, or grab your piece of paper that we are, because we're going to take some notes as we go along. All right, so first let's talk about some parts of the seeds. We're gonna get a chance to dissect them and look a little bit into it, and then we'll also use this page for reference as well, but it's got a lot of big terminology, so I want to go through them. You can write down some notes as we go along, or you can just listen and figure out what each terminology means. You could also take notes on here as well as we go through some of these words. So we're going to start. A lot of these words kind of go back and forth between each of the different kinds of seeds, but we are going to go through some of the terminology that way so you know what we're discussing as we're going along. Okay, so the first set of words that we need to talk about are these words down here. So dicot is any seed that has 2 true leaves inside, and then monocot is meaning of 1 leaf inside of the seed. So let's talk about the parts of the seeds on the corn, because a lot of those then transfer over to the dicot or the bean seed, and then we'll do the one word that's different over on the dicot side. So starting at the top, the seed coat that goes on the outside of both the seeds, just kind of as a protective layer. And then moving down to endosperm, that's basically a fancy word meaning food storage. So the endosperm is what has the food and transports food to the seed in the plant. And the epicotyl is the part of the seed that extends the stem above the ground and helps it shoot upwards. Next down is the cotyledon, which basically means the leaves. It's the leaves inside the seed. And then the last word on the corn side is radicle, and that helps grow basically the roots down into the ground. So it grows down in the soil, and it helps take the water and sends it up to the leaves. So it's basically the roots down at the bottom. So we've got seed coat, which is a protective layer, endosperm, which is the food storage, and then we've got the epicotyl, which extends the stem above the ground, the cotyledon, which is the leaf forming inside the seed, and that also supplies nutrients for the rest of the seed during germination. And then radicle, which goes downward and helps take water to the rest of the plant. So over on the dicot side, you've got a lot of those same terminology. You've got seed coat, and you've got cotyledons, and you've got epicotyl, but the only other one that's different than over in the corn is the hypocotyl, and that one is very similar to the epicotyl, but it becomes part of the stem, and it pushes the leaves up and outward out of the ground. And we'll talk about that a little bit farther in another diagram that you don't have, but that I am going to show you. So keeping those terminologies a little bit in mind, we're going to dive into some experimenting. Okay, so it might be helpful to put seeds on a hard surface like a plate. You can get a paper plate out, maybe even a paper towel, hard surface like a desk, whatever works for you. So I'm going to get my seeds set up. I've got some new seeds in here, and then I've also got some seeds that are already broken up for you to see. All right, so here are a few of my broken up seeds already that I have looked into. But here, for example, is one of the corn seeds. You're just going to take your tweezers and you're going to push into the seed on the side to kind of split it open, and then you're going to peel it back, and then you can see the inside of the corn. It's a little hard to see because my seeds are far from the camera, but you're just going to basically split it open like that. So take the time to go ahead and split all the seeds open that you have inside your packet, and when you're ready, go ahead and press play and we'll move forward. Okay, so these are all the different seeds that I have split open. The bean seed is one of the easiest to see, I think. Right here, you've got this little shoot, and if you remember, this is the part that, it's the part that eventually will turn into the rooting system. Right here, it's just kind of hanging out there, ready to be emerged in the ground, and it will help push the leaves up out of the ground. So that one's pretty easy to see, if it can focus. So that's an easy part to see to the bean seed, and then real easily the seed coat pulls off. I actually got the seed coat on both the sides of the seeds to pull off. So there's the seed coat, the protective layer. And then the corn seed is a little bit harder to see. I've got a couple split open for you to seed. But basically, you're looking kind of down here towards the end. There's one seed. And then a little bit of a better view. This is a seed split in half with both ends still attached. But you're going to look down here at the tip of the corn. So if you're seeing the whole corn, you're going to look down here at this part. Down here. So I want you to just take a couple moments, pause your video, kind of overview what you're seeing. Look at your diagram that was given to you with all the parts that we went through. If you wanted to flip this over and draw on the back side, maybe you got another piece of paper, maybe you just want to use this blank sheet. Draw what you see from your seeds, okay? And then take your ruler and just do some scientific, recording. Measure how big maybe the length of the seed is, maybe how the width of it is broken up. Just take some measurements of the seeds, see if they're any different, which one's bigger, which one's smaller. Maybe even measure what this shoot measures. You've got centimeters and inches. Centimeters might be easier to measure with because you could the parts of the seeds are a little bit smaller, but if you want to use the inches, you've got the inch side as well. So take a moment, look over your seeds, kind of record what you're seeing, and you can do that by either words or you can do it by drawings. All right, hopefully you had some time to just kind of examine your seeds, look to see what's inside of them, take some measurements, do some recording of what the seeds are like. So now let's move into kind of a little bit about how those seeds would grow should you have planted them. Each of them grows a little bit differently. So what you had was just your corn was actually harvested in 2020 from a field, so that is a common just seed corn that would have been used to feed animals or dried and then planted again or made into some kind of byproduct for either humans or animals. And then your bean seed was actually just from Walmart. It was a dried seed for cooking purposes, but it goes to show that any kind of seeds can be soaked and can be experimented on. It's kind of fun to see the insides of the seeds. So if you have other seeds laying around your house, maybe you got sunflower seeds, maybe you're going to plant some pumpkins or some squash and have some extra. You could do the same process, soak them, and split them open with your tweezers and see what kind of a difference you've got. Alright, so you don't have this diagram, but I kind of just wanted to show it. So the top row is how this, the corn grows. So we've got the seed coat showed right here with a little bit with a true leaf or the cotyledon starting to grow on the inside, and then here's what it looks like once it's starting to emerge and it's just getting out of the soil right here. And this was one of the big words down here that helps shoot up the leaves in the stem. Here's the roots forming. Okay, here's the stem and the leaves are really starting to form right here, and then they're really starting to merge and the roots are kind of getting bigger and it's taking up all those nutrients to send up to the rest of the plant. And down here is the beans. So take note that the seed over here is actually staying the entire time for the corn down in the ground, and then the difference between the beans is the bean travels with the plant. So right here it is starting to grow right here. That's that little shoot that you can see when you split open the seed. That is starting to grow, and that's the radical. And then it's starting to form its roots. Okay, and then it's pushing the seed coat off. That way so it can start to emerge. And then here the cotyledons or the leaves are starting to merge all the way out of its seed so it can start growing bigger. And then notice that it gets stuck right here, and that is the actual seed. So eventually that will fall off onto the ground and then you'll have its plant. So here's a little bit better of a diagram of all the parts of the seed. You can see the leaves forming in here. And then here's a little bit of a diagram that shows the different stages as well. So same with corn. This starts the stage a little bit older, and then will eventually grow into what you guys know, what you guys see in the cornfields, and then when it gets dried and harvested. And then this is how the beans grow. This is when it's just emerging out of the ground, all the way up until it gets harvested. So like I said, we had a bean that was used for cooking purposes, but it is grown just the same way as this diagram. Just like that. So that was the end of today's experiment for week 3. I hope you guys learned a few terminologies and were able to kind of just see where your plants come from by seeing what's inside of the seeds. So like I mentioned before, if you guys have other seeds laying around the house you want to do some experimenting on, make sure you just give them a good soaking overnight or 24 hours and then split them open just like we did and see what you discover. Take some notes, do some measuring, see how big your seeds are, and definitely utilize your tweezers to get into the seed and break them open. So until we meet again, bye!